this is Paul Mackey on the One Idjit's Thoughts on Podcasts. Today's definitely been an odd one compared to my work so far on Dog Days. Welcome to Day 9, by the way. Check out dogdaysofpodcasting.com to check out a wide variety of content creators this month. I woke up around 4 a.m., and Darcy and I splurged on a Burger King breakfast. Of course, the alternative splurge would have probably been a convenience store breakfast. But anyway, we got here to Measure for Measure Tailoring Shop on 4th Street by 5:30, and I started my summary. I feel like my summaries are running a bit long again. Not quite as bad as the one Roswell I tried to do before I tweaked the format, but a healthy length. My episode timings are still reasonable, though, so I might be mistaken. Anyway, then I started my shift at the station at 6:30, got a few tasks done, and then on to the work picnic prep. I was the first one to the pavilion, and I'm writing this part there. It's 58 degrees Fahrenheit right now, and the wind has more like 54, so that's 12 degrees centigrade, says Google. I brought a sun hat and a flannel shirt, and I'm stubbornly wearing the sun hat. At some point, my fellow party planners will arrive, and we will have setup work to do. Later, the plan is to wrap up out here at the lake, bring stuff back to the station, then go home, cook dinner if that hasn't happened yet, then back to the shop to finish writing and recording. And obviously, I'm not actually there now, so I can tell you that's pretty much how it has gone as I'm recording this. So we'll go ahead and get into Gravity Falls, Season 2, Episode 1, Scary-oke, originally aired August 1st, 2014, just one day less than a full year after the Season 1 finale. And a brief summary. This episode actually continues on from the exact end of the previous season. Stan monologues that it's been 30 years of work creating what I will call the Stargate for lack of actual terminology presented on the show. It looks like it's scanning for something as it keeps flashing a red X as it varies some manner of permutations. Stan worries for his family if anyone ever found out about his project, but shrugs it off and turns on max power. Brilliant lights shine through the shack and actually shine on the whole town, including Lil Gideon on a bunk in a prison jumpsuit. Stan thinks nobody is going to notice, but it becomes clear the machine is causing some kind of detectable signal beyond the brilliant light as a red detector line is shown that then defines Gravity Falls as the source. And Nick Offerman was clearly watching, or at least his character Agent Powers. Meanwhile, the Mystery Shack has a grand reopening, and Stan announces an after-party as well. Mabel says it's actually a karaoke party, and Stan and the twins will be performing as Love Patrol Alpha, though Dipper and Stan don't seem to actually know about it yet. Dipper asks Stan for the journal back, and Stan gives it back, though there's a cutaway of Stan photocopying it. Dipper rushes to the attic with Mabel, explaining the summer's half over, and he hasn't figured out the journal and the mysteries of the town. Why did Gideon cause all the mayhem to find the journal? Who wrote it, and why, and where are the other journals? I think that while Gideon got his hands on Dipper's 3 journal, Dipper knows nothing about Gideon's 2 journal, and obviously nothing about Stan having the 1 journal. Mabel points out that Dipper has looked through the journal tons of times, and half the pages are blank, too. I don't know whether the half-blank is a new exposition or something we saw before. The government arrives in an obvious fleet vehicle stamped with U.S. government. Stan hastily tries to close up the shack, but the agents enter and say they're investigating mysterious activity. Dipper is interested in working with them and finding out more about the town, and Agent Powers gives him his card. Stan tells the agents the paranormal lore is just for the gift shop, to sell more tickets, and after they leave, he takes the card from Dipper, telling him not to talk to the agents. Mabel kind of agrees they should just party tonight, not search for agents or raise the dead, and Dipper says of course he won't be raising the dead, he just wants to show the agents his book. The party setup is all set. Confetti cannon, karaoke machine, black lights, and Stanyadas that Grenda smashes right away. Dipper wants to get Powers' card back, and Wendy agrees to run interference with Stan while Dipper looks for it. Dipper finds the card and calls the number, saying he has a journal to help their case. They say they'll be right over, but Stan catches Dipper at the end of the call. Stan tells Dipper there's definitely nothing supernatural going on in Gravity Falls, and Dipper argues that it has to be obvious by now. Stan tells Dipper that after the party he is grounded. Dipper shows the journal to the agents, and they brush it off as more gift shop junk. In desperation, Dipper reads an incantation, and suddenly a zombie emerges from a glowing crevasse. At the party, the ground shakes and the crowd panics and leaves. Seuss says he knows everything about avoiding zombies, but is promptly bitten, and he kind of does a Jonathan Colton karaoke track, sans accompaniment. I'm pretty sure no one was going to eat their eyes. Meanwhile, downstairs, Stan is worried about his own supernatural project and oblivious to the zombie horde. Mabel asks Dipper what the journal says about defeating zombies, but there's nothing. Suddenly, Stan appears, wielding a baseball bat, and tells the twins to head for the attic, all the while bashing zombies. In the attic, Dipper says at least Stan will now know that magic is real. Stan says he always knew it was real, and also dangerous. One of the black lights on the floor reveals there's an entire additional layer in the journal written in invisible ink. They turn to zombies, and the revelation is 3-part harmony can kill the zombies. Which is, no less plausible than Slim Whitman or Puberty Love, right? Points to you if you got both of those references. The Pines are trapped, but Mabel points out they can sing their way out of the sticky spot. After all, the zombies are dead. Both Dipper and Stan make half promises. Dipper not to use the journal to seek out trouble, and Stan that there are no other huge secrets about the town. When Seuss bursts in trying to eat their brains, Stan is ready to battle back, but Dipper says Seuss's zombification is reversible using formaldehyde and cinnamon. All right, very cartoonish. Again, take your pick, but I picked Grenda carries candy away from danger in her backpack. And is that okay? Mabel smacks Deputy Durland on the backside after letting him into the party. Also, Wendy says the black light makes it look like there's a crime scene in her mouth. And I'm definitely not elaborating on that train of thought. My favorite line...
Dipper, what's the one thing I asked you not to do tonight?
Raise the dead.
And what did you do?
Raise the dead.
And then Who Is will continue its hiatus. I do note the addition of a certain storyboard revisionist to the staff at this episode, and I'll probably profile them at a later date. What worked? Alex Hirsch and co. really stepped it up on this episode. I think they took note of the age group that was watching and just let loose. While the army of zombies wasn't bloody, they certainly went above and beyond the spooky level of anything in Season 1. What didn't work? Well, it didn't go too far for me, but I wonder if the tonal shift was already beginning to cause the end of the series from this first episode of what would ultimately be revealed to be the last season. Things to ponder. So what I've been calling the Stargate until they say something else seems to light up intensely and send out traceable power flashes. But what is it actually supposed to do? It looks like it's trying out permutations and rejecting all of them so far as ineffective. So next time is Gravity Falls Season 2, Episode 2, Into the Bunker. Happy hunting! You've been listening to the One Idjit's Thoughts On podcast, produced by Paul Mackey in association with Nimlas Studios. Any short clips of audio from shows is included under fair use for commentary purposes, and copyright for that content remains with its original copyright holders. The theme song is Too Good by Jack Mangan and is used by his generous permission. One Idjit's Thoughts is produced under a Creative Commons Attribution, Non-Commercial, No Derivatives 4.0 International License. You can find more episodes of this podcast and many other fine podcasts at nimlas.org. You can contact me by emailing idjitcastpodcast@gmail.com or commenting on episodes at nimlas.org. Do kids today even know what a flash mob is?